All right, welcome everybody. Get started just a second. Yep, everybody's done so, I think. Please remember to type something in the chat to sign in. All right, so I guess we can go ahead and jump in. All right, so today, as some of y'all may have noticed, the test number 4 is up online. As usual, we've got 3 attempts, and I would suggest not waiting until the end of the week to attempt at least the first one. I mean, if you want to say the last attempt for this weekend or something, that's fine. Please note that it is due on Saturday evening at 11:59. Put that in the chat. So don't get that confused with the other stuff that is due on Sunday. So please make sure to do at least one of those attempts, but as usual, you do not have to do all of them. But please do at least one. If you have any questions about the requirements and suggestions for the online test taking, excuse me, online tests document is up on Gensbar under resources. So give that a look out. So let's see. Yeah, today we're going to be doing, review for that test. And then on Wednesday and Friday, we will be doing review for the final and talking about the final. So keep a head up for that. Definitely worth coming. And please, please, please ask questions. If you don't, then I don't know what you need help with. I don't know what you want to discuss. So be active and ask questions. If you are embarrassed for some reason and don't want to openly ask a question, please feel free to send one to me privately in the chat. That is fine as well. Okay, so I guess I'll open up the floor for questions. What does anyone want to know or review or see or anything like that? Nothing, huh? I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe it.
Dr. Dean, I got a question.
Yes.
Okay, so how much does the Cengage work count for our
Okay.
grade?
So valid question. The Cengage work is kind of up in the air, and there is some confusion that I should probably go ahead and address. So the homework, all of it gets averaged into one single homework average. And as per your syllabus, that is, where is it? That is worth 15% of your grade. So if you take all of what you made on the different homework assignments and find their average, that is what goes in under the homework average section. And the exams that are on WebAssign are the same as the other exams. So I'm spent the last few days working on this for all my classes. I don't generally like the grade book in on Jinzabar for a few different reasons. One, Jinzabar is notoriously finicky. Sometimes it's down, sometimes it's up, sometimes it will just lose information. If I post something, I've had it just like I've lost a month's worth of attendance before because it just wasn't there. So Jinzabar, it has a lot of kinks to work out, so usually don't like that. But it has been impressed upon me that finding averages for work is hard. So I'm trying to put something in there that will tell you basically how you're doing, where you stand, and it will include everything except test number 4 and the final exam. And obviously any homework that you may not have turned in yet. So, and this again is another one of my problems with this, is that I can't do this averaging for students individually. It is ridiculously painstaking. So I do it in mass, but if you haven't turned in all the homework that you're planning on turning in, then your average is going to look very different than someone who has. If you've already done test number 4, there's so much that is still kind of in flux that's different for every student, that you could easily find your average, but I can't easily find individual averages. So keep that in mind. But I will have something up on Jinzabar hopefully today. We'll see. It's been quite the undertaking, but it will at least give you an idea of where you stand. So don't look at the percentage on just the overall percentage on WebAssign and say, oh, that's my homework average or something like that. That's not how that works. That just tells you what percentage of the overall work you have completed. That doesn't it doesn't take into account the fact that there are multiple tries on a test, and I only take one of them. So if you had if you had a, 100 on the first test and didn't even take the other 3 tests, or I'm sorry, the other 2 tests, then WebAssign might say that you have a 33%. Or you could have gotten a 60 on every test, and WebAssign would say that you have a 60%. So that's true, but only because you got the same grade on all of them. The person who got 100, theirs may say 33%. So you can't look at the overall percentage and take that to mean your grade. You would have to look at, your individual assignments. Average up all the homeworks that you've done. That's your homework average. Find your 2 highest test grades from WebAssign. That's your test average. So yeah, that's part of the issue. And I've tried to explain this to my people, and they don't care that the number may not be accurate or make sense. So I'm going through it. But yeah, so you can't just look at your overall average on WebAssign, if that's what you were meaning. But the WebAssign work is going to take the place of your homework average, and there are 2 tests on WebAssign. So I guess all in all, WebAssign makes up because it will also include the final, WebAssign assignments will make up 60% of your grade. 2 tests, a final, and your homework. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I know there was a lot there, but just because that is a very common question that gets asked in a lot of different ways. So, okay. Any other questions about, I guess, anything? Talk about that kind of stuff, or also specific questions about test stuff. Come on, I know there's something.
You say ask a question about something we don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go through an example, or
yes,
explain
please.
it, or just ask something, and I'll.
I don't exactly know how to find all the missing angles and measurements of a triangle.
Okay, good question. Covers a lot. So there are 2 main ways. Instead, so, and these work for any generic triangle. We have sides A, B, and C. That means that this is angle A, angle B, angle C. All right. So what are the 2 types of relationships that relate all of these things. There's two laws that we talked about.
Law of cosine. Law.
Yep. So there was law of sines and cosines. So which one you use just depends on what you are looking for and what you have. So law of sines says that side A over sine of angle A is B over sine B law of cosines says c squared equals plus b squared minus 2ab cosine. Okay. So depending on what you have, that will tell you what you can find or vice versa. So whenever you have a triangle, you will be given at least 3 things, okay? You'll need at least one side and then 2 other things. It could be angle, angle, side. It could be angle, side, angle, side, side, side. You were given 3 things, one of which has to be a side. And you can use those to find any other side. So let's just for a second, let's list out 3 of these things and figure out what we need to use to find the other ones. I'm not going to go, I mean, I could go through, but I think the biggest challenge most people have is figuring out what to use and how. So give me any 3 of the things that are up here, and we will talk about how to get the other 3. So give me any 3. Like, just tell me which ones we have.
A, B, C.
Okay, so we have A, B, and C. Are those all sides? Are one of those an angle, 2 of those an angle?
Let's go side A, angle B, and side C.
Side A, angle B, and side C?
Right.
Okay. All right. So that means we have, don't want to spill my drink. So we have this thing, we have this thing, we have this thing. So what do we need to use? So we'll say that we need to find this thing, and this thing. So does anybody know which one of these 2 we're going to use?
Angle A, side B.
Now, this law or this law?
Oh, I'm sorry. Law of sine.
So we actually can't use the law of sines because of the kind of triangle that we have. So this is side, angle, side. Whenever you have a side angle side, you're going to use law of cosines. The reason for this is, look at what you have. You have this thing, you have this thing, and you have this thing. You can't find any one of the other things because to use law of sines, you need to have two of the things, so A and like side A and angle A, and then one of these other things. But you only have one of the things in this part, one of them in this part, and one of them in this part. So that's a good indicator that you're going to use law of cosines, is that you don't have all of the things, okay? So we're going to use law of cosines, and what that's going to tell us is, so we have C, A, and angle B. We're going to use law of cosines to find side B. So B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times cosine. So that will give us B, side B, and then we can use law of sines, because now we have this. So we can use law of sines to find sine A and sine C. Or you can actually, if you want to, you can keep using this, but in a different way. So that's usually the only issue is the first one. So that's a good question. So let's look at a concrete example. So let's say we have um, $11, $8, and this is 37 degrees. Then when you plug it in, find B, you get B squared. So we want 8 squared plus 11 squared minus 2 times 8 times 11 cosine 37. Throw that into our handy dandy calculator. And I get that this equals 44.4. So then B equals 6.67. All right, so now we have this side. Now we can use the law of sines to find the other two. So let's find, I don't know, which one do you want to find? Give me one. You want to find angle C or angle A?
Angle A.
Angle A. Okay. So we know that we're going to use the A one, which is going to be A over sine A. And the only angle we have is B over sine B. So we plug in the stuff that we know. And that is that B is 37 and 6.67. And then what do we know over here? Do we know the length of side A or do we know angle A?
The length of side.
Which is?
A.
What?
A.
I can't hear you.
Is it 8?
8. So, switch all that around and you get A equals sine -1 of, let's see, so I get that equals 46 degrees. Really, it's 46.2 degrees. Okay. So now how do we find angle C? This is the easy one.
You said how we find angle C?
Yeah. Angle C. This is part of solving triangles. Is finding all the sides and all the angles.
Is it 117 degrees?
No.
100. Um,
I got, which one? Not losing my stuff here. So all the angles inside should be add to 180. So 180 minus angle A minus angle B. So 180 minus 37 minus 46.2 is 96.8.
okay, I see. Could you tell us what's the format of the just the final?
What do you mean the format?
Like how the questions are, how they're gonna be
It's going to look exactly like the test 3 and number 4. It's going to be online, but it's going to cover, everything that we've covered, in the semester. So we'll be doing reviews on Wednesday and Friday, and I will, because of seniors in stuff in different classes, I'm pretty much just going to open up the finals on Wednesday because seniors have to be done by Sunday, I think. So the final will pretty much guarantee to open on Wednesday afternoon. I've already started putting them together, but we will go more into depth about the final exam stuff on Wednesday and Friday. But it'll be the same thing. It's just bigger, I guess. And obviously you'll have more time.
Is the final exam 3 attempts or 1?
I'm sorry?
Is it 3 attempts or 1?
It's going to be 2.
Okay.
Because it's so long. I think in the past I have done 1 attempt, but in those cases I always had a chance for people to come in and do a paper version with me. But since I don't have that option, I will most likely have 2 attempts for the final. So okay. Got about 5 minutes. What else would you all like to talk about? Mm-mm. Well, I guess I will be available during office hours. And like I said, I'll be available during kind of extended office hours for the next, for tomorrow and Thursday. I'll be there, I'll be online pretty much all day. So drop in, give me a shout. Otherwise, we will see you guys on Wednesday. So,
All right, Doc. I have some more questions for you on Wednesday.
all right, I'll be here.
For sure. All right.
See ya.